Yom Tov. This is Messianic Moment Ministries. I'm Stephen Bruck, and you are you. Before I start, thank you for being here, and especially thank you because, as you can see from the topic of today's discussion, I've already warned you. And if at the end of today's rant, if you feel a need to comment, please don't hesitate to do so. But as you'll glean from my rant, if you're going to make a comment, you don't have to agree. You can disagree, but just be respectful and be nice. That's it. So let's get into today's rant. But before I go crazy, just want to give you a little background. I just left a discussion group that I recently joined. And last night this happened, and I'm kind of upset about it. And I wanted to talk about it because it's something we all are going to run into. In fact, in this discussion group, which I've recently joined, I was given one of those little Facebook stars for having contributed so well to the group. So new. Why did I leave? Because one of the administrators of that group was such a jerk, I just couldn't continue to be in his presence and be subjected to where he can keep commenting. Now, what had happened was, at one point there was a discussion where the question of the divinity of Yeshua was being discussed. Okay, and he and I disagreed. All right, he's a Trinitarian. I'm not. I never said anything against him or his beliefs, just that I disagreed with him and the interpretations of the verses that he kept showing to prove his point. Now, despite my polite pleading, constant pleading to just, can't we agree to disagree, and let's start a different conversation, he was not just adamant, but he was obsessed with my refusal to agree with him. He told me if I deny Yeshua as being a divine entity, then I am denying Yeshua. Really? I mean, to me, there seems to be a gigantic difference between not believing Yeshua and God are the same exact entity and denying Yeshua, which means denying he existed, denying he's Messiah, denying everything about him. I mean, there's a gigantic difference to me. So not only did he do that, but he also accused me and told me that I had to prove my point. He accused me of refusing to prove my point, refusing to argue with him, and he said I had to prove my point. I repeatedly said I just disagreed. And I told him I didn't want to discuss it. I knew he had his opinion. I had my opinion. We weren't going to change. But I knew also that his demand for me to prove my side of this argument was just merely a way to bait me so that he could continue to tell me why he is correct. All right, so I haven't even started to rant yet. That's just the background. So here comes the rant. People are people. And being a believer, we are expected to show more of the compassion, patience, and long-suffering. Ooh, fruits of the Spirit, do I hear? Galatians 5:22. We're expected to be that way because that's what Yeshua showed us he was. And we're supposed to be like him. And that's what God has always shown us he's like. But that doesn't happen. And it doesn't happen a lot. Here's the bottom line, folks. If someone was an ass before they accepted Yeshua, they will still be an ass after they accept Yeshua. Hopefully, that will eventually go away as they die to self and mature, both emotionally and spiritually. And this happens when we are willing to carry our execution stake and follow Yeshua throughout the rest of our life. And if that sounds familiar, you'll find it in Matthew 16:24. But you see, some people never want to pick up their execution stake. They refuse to die to self and continue to be prideful and arrogant. And when they discuss a topic with someone and that person disagrees, they don't listen. They attack. They accuse the person, as I was being accused, of being stubborn and not willing to listen. Which is really funny when you consider that they have just done the same thing. I asked this man many times to please just let it go, but he continually came back post after post after post with his reasons why he believed what he did and demanding that I do the same. In fact, I shared a post to that group that was about a teaching series I'm right now giving about the Jewish and Christian perspective on salvation and the differences, and he commented on it. Well, I was nice. I said, thank you for being interested, in my work. And he came back and he said, the comment had nothing to do with him being interested in my work, and I shouldn't flatter myself. He was just letting me know, and people that read my comment, that I deny Yeshua as divine, and therefore I'm denying Yeshua. I mean, he was actually commenting on a totally different discussion with a totally different topic, just to let me know that he wasn't going to let me escape one post thread simply by starting a different one. I had to leave the group. He was an admin. I couldn't stop him. I couldn't shut him out. I couldn't block him. You can't block admins, so I had to leave the group. And I also did block him on my own, not just for my own peace of mind, so that I could continue to post other articles and teach, but so that he would not interrupt and possibly confuse others. I'm hoping that if I block him and I post something, he won't be allowed to contribute or post on it. Look, I'm also a human being, and I battle every moment of every day with my own pridefulness, which basically I really deserve. Nah, I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding. And because I recognize the pridefulness in myself, I can recognize it in others. It's like the old expression, it takes one to know one. When someone cannot let go of a discussion, they cannot accept to agree to disagree, and they become aggressive and demeaning, well, I'm not a psychiatrist, but I'm pretty sure that you can agree that person has absolutely no interest in God, Yeshua, or edifying you. He or she doesn't care about right or wrong or your spiritual position. All that person wants to hear is someone else say, "Oh, you're so right. Thank you for correcting me." Brothers and sisters, this is a sad thing. Someone like this, a person with such low self-esteem, which is why they are so aggressive, and so emotionally and spiritually immature that they need to have someone else tell them they are right. Well, I'm sorry, this is a pitiable person. And when they don't receive the confirmation and gratification of being told they are right, they will verbally abuse and attack the other person. That's how you can tell. That's their fruits. Someone, on the other hand, who is confident in their beliefs will not have to prove it to anyone. And someone who is mature spiritually and emotionally will not resort to personal attacks if the other person doesn't agree with them. If I believe I know something about what the Bible says, and I see that your understanding is, in my opinion, wrong, then I will try to explain my side. I will give you the benefit of whatever learning, knowledge, or insight I believe I have. However, if you don't accept what I say, or you just simply disagreed, then I should allow you the right to have your own opinion. I'm not in the place of God to judge you, or in the place of God to condemn you. The people who are like the person I have described to you today, who think they are in God's place, that they are correct, absolutely and undeniably, and that if you do not agree with them, you are in sin. Well, if they really were correct and that's spiritually aware, they would have no problem shaking the dust off their feet, and they would easily stop throwing their pearls before the swine. But they can't. And why can't they? Well, because it isn't about right or wrong. It isn't about God or Yeshua. And it isn't about you and me. It's all about them. All right, so taking a deep breath, ready to move on. And I actually hope this rant has been helpful in identifying a problem that we all will run into as we share our beliefs with others and contribute to discussion groups. I give everyone the right to have their own opinion, and if they disagree with me, I will not force myself on them. I'm not saying this to be bragging, but a truly mature and confident person will not be so disrespectful as to not let someone else out of a discussion or not argue if they ask to please. Let's just agree to disagree. Those who, like this man I'm talking about, cannot accept that someone doesn't agree with their beliefs and allow that person to have their own opinion, in my opinion, is not any different than the Crusaders of 1095 CE who slaughtered thousands of people who simply just refused to denounce their beliefs. That's a tough statement, but it's really there's not that much difference. So, that's the rant. If you actually like what I'm saying, please share me out, and please don't forget to go to the Messianic Moment icons, click on them, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. And also, please, if you do want to subscribe to hear me, go back to the website, messianicmoment.com. In the right-hand column, subscribe there too, because I don't always do a video. And there's plenty of stuff on my website you might like. Pictures, personal stuff. Many of my earlier postings that I didn't have a video program to write about. And also, you can check out my 3 books. See if any of those would be interesting. If you like what you're hearing from me or what you read, I can really guarantee you're going to like the books, because it's the same me. I don't write my books like some boring text. I just write like I'm talking to you. All right, so other than that, today is Friday. I'll go back to talking about Parsha next week, God willing. So I want to wish you a Shabbat Shalom and Lehitro.